Cute. Yep, they got the stuff done. I'll take pictures, Teresa. Okay.
Okay, so we can do a mic check just to make sure it's volume okay, and then this is our clicker for this, and
I'm not very slidey, so I have like probably what, I say like 8 slides.
Right.
that's okay. Oh, so you can just, I'm just turn it on, you're just gonna advance it here.
Does this
And-
come off? Like if I wanted to just sit,
If you want to,
sit down.
yeah, if you wanna just hold it, if you. Yeah, it's not on you, so.
Okay.
What's the usual number you get in for the?
Oh, we can
Hello.
get from 25 to 35, it sort of depends.
Okay.
And with the interim, the people are doing so many other things too, it's hard to tell. We're, I mean, you probably heard that in service.
No, I
bring it up every year, every week. We're in an interim situation right now because Pastor, Peter left after Easter last year. And Pastor Steve is here from June until whenever our interim, he's a specialist.
Got it, in the interim, yeah, but I'm United Methodist, we borrow all of our interims from the Lutherans. Because you actually like to train.
Yeah,
We don't, we just let the Lutherans do the training and then we hire.
I'm gonna go run and grab it.
okay, great, okay.
Uh,
So,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I heard him say that he was still getting to know people and all
Yeah,
that, so
yeah,
that was
yeah.
fine.
so he'll be here for, who knows, 9 months, maybe a year.
Until the call committee kind
Yeah,
of.
until we get everything settled.
Have you guys started interviewing, or are you
No,
on?
no, we're just starting the transition process
Got it.
really, so it's a slow process.
It is, isn't it?
I mean, you have to do a lot of,
Self-study,
looking
right?
at, yeah, self-study again, and we've done so many over the, I mean, I've been here 23 years and, I don't know, if this is number 4 or whatever, I mean. So, yeah, anyway, it's, it is what it is, but Steve's a great guy, and actually.
He's a super guy.
He is,
I appreciate him.
he is when he retired from his parish work, before he became an interim pastor, he actually joined this church
Oh,
officially,
Got it.
but only he's only been here a few times because then he's off doing
Peter.
a thing, so this is the first time I've ever gotten.
Oh, yeah.
Now that he's here.
Now I guess where
I'm gonna save a place for
And Steve,
Jean.
my your first name, Carol, Rachel.
I think you gotta put the face around it.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Well, I know it takes forever, and Patricia Lowell was your bishop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you're,
Wait, but who?
Patricia Lowell.
I think we just have a new one now,
That's,
right?
that's a new one?
No, that was the old one. I think we just got a new one like last
Patricia
week.
retired.
Can we just get a new
do
district last
election this
week?
year.
No,
You gotta get elected.
Yeah,
you
we're
gotta
doing
get
national
elected
bishop.
to terms,
Okay.
I
Wait,
don't
I
know.
Don't Patricia Lowell?
I wouldn't have been surprised if she.
Patricia Law is in her last term, but she's not done yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we have a new national bishop, presiding bishop, we call him, Bishop Curry.
Bishop, yeah, so I saw that.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that yet, so
Yeah,
I haven't looked at.
yeah, and I don't
You
know,
have-
heard any news on it.
I don't know Bishop Curry, I know Bishop Patricia very well.
Yeah, yeah. And I think she is in her last term here in the Senate.
She's, because she was director, she was the executive director of Interfaith Action back in 2010 to 12, and then she was elected bishop, so.
Yeah,
And
okay.
so when
Yeah.
the Lutherans stole her from us, and so she's been in it like at least,
12, well, when she ends this term, it'll be 12 years.
yeah, so that tracks. with the math.
That's, well, it's 2 terms. 6-year terms, and by constitution now, we can only serve 2
Okay.
terms as a bishop.
I come to you, I'm United Methodist by credential, but I just, because I live in Minnesota, you know, we sort of osmote the Lutheranness of structure.
That's a great way to say it.
You know, despite my best efforts, I can still sing your liturgy, and I don't know how, but I can sing it all.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. But. You,
I served in congregations for 20 years, and when it was time for our adult forum, we would ring a bell just like you guys. It's the same thing.
yeah, so it is. Hey,
Good morning, gentlemen. Morning. My mom used to do a toll bell for us to come in for supper.
Yeah, and it's the same, like it triggers something sort of reptilian in our brains, right, when we hear the bell.
I remember hearing the bell when I was I 7? At 7 years old, my brother and I were, when we heard the bell, we skipped school.
That's hilarious.
Because we were late.
Oh dear.
We didn't want to be late, so we skipped.
So it's better to skip than, oh my god.
Yeah,
Skipping was better than being late.
talk about faulty logic.
Yeah. You can see how you got there, but
It was not a good idea.
Back on the farm where I grew up, we had a farm light pole with a light on it.
Yeah.
Then up the barnyard. And there was a switch in the house to turn that on and off. And you could see it for most of the, the farm fields around, if you're out in the field. Dinner was ready, Mom would turn that light on.
So everybody knew when you were.
I knew it's time to come in, now it was noon or supper time,
Not a bell?
I'm still trying to
the
figure it
lights
out.
on, it's time to come in.
Like me, I turned around and I'm like,
Oh, so Gary, you go from your
again.
sweatshirt to your
Not
tie.
That's like impression, so
Yeah.
maybe I know.
Yeah, I had it hidden underneath.
Yeah, I get that.
I haven't worn a tie for so long, I thought.
Oh, you
so
grew up at St. Anthony
I
Park?
put it on
Oh,
today.
okay. St. Anthony Park Lutheran, did
I
you go there?
rarely wear
When
it
I was a kid.
anymore.
Cause I know.
I have racks.
I love the comment.
Yeah. Well, you know, when
So I know
you
it's not
were in the
great.
business world, right? And I was a pastor and, you know, just,
No,
What's that?
we left that
you
congregation.
know, and now I don't, I have suits hanging in the closet and I do wear.
Yeah, we're from California.
We had a thing, the other church I was in, there was a lady, and she actually had
It's a radical.
contacted people and don't see you for days, that.
And,
Dad bought for in 1937 was $8,000.
And so we had a crossing. Before David was known as a senior place, our pastor did conference senior.
My brother said,
So
there's a newspaper.
it was like, they had a big old out there, you know. It's named without them.
I think it's.
I think, yeah, I got it. I still, yeah. You know, unique thing, you know. I remember we had the Agnes Council in high school. With
Or were you?
Mr. Stolberg.
Yeah, these wide old.
Just getting more cinnamon. No, I'm.
This was about.
Well, I have wide ones that have.
You know. I have my.
My
I
grandmother.
Yeah.
Dressed her last night.
I don't know if I ever.
I don't provide every
I like.
That would be a
70.
Well, my dad was thinking.
It would have been further north. Place, you know, you know, regret.
My hair, let me fight as long as always. Like that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I had to cut it. It was 3-piece suits.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Suits.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
this
a
is
uniform, kind of like a uniform.
Okay, I think it's time to begin. A few people can wander in. They get their coffee and their Christmas wreaths and whatever being done out there. Today we have a guest speaker, so we want to make sure we give her her time. So I'd like to introduce Theresa Halvorson-Lee, and she is the head of the Department of Indian Work for Interfaith Action of Greater St. Paul. And so we'd like to hear some about your stories and your work, and I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi. Thank you for inviting me here today. Can I get a chair and just sit?
Sure.
Okay.
You want to be out here?
Yeah, yeah, I don't wanna stand up. And,
That way they'll have silence.
yeah,
Good idea.
okay.
So thank you again for inviting me here today. I'm obviously nervous. My name is Theresa Halvorson-Lee. I'm an enrolled member of Sitson Wapton Oyate. It's a Dakota tribe of South Dakota. I'm also the director for Department of Indian Work. And before I begin, I want to start the way that my people start, with a moment of grounding. So this is a smudge bowl. In our Dakota way, we use sacred medicines like sage, cedar, and sweetgrass to cleanse our thoughts and invite good energy. It's a way of preparing ourselves to speak and listen with open hearts. So I'm not gonna smudge in the way of burning. But what I want you to do is take the sage ball. It's a pretty big ball. We wouldn't normally use this big, but it's a representation.
They're not gonna be able to hear you.
Oh, I'm not gonna burn the sage. I'm just gonna roll it in my hands, and I want you to do the same. I'll pass the shell around. And then just smell it. Smell the medicine in the plant that was given to us. A lot of times when you're not feeling well, it'll smell really medicinal. Sometimes it smells like Vicks Vapor Rub to me. And this is anointing oil. You guys are probably familiar, maybe. In my faith tradition, we use it to bless, to heal, to prepare our hearts for something sacred. A reminder of the Holy Spirit's presence. Both are tools of praise, not objects of worship. I certainly don't believe that sage is going to, the sage itself is going to heal me or cleanse me. I don't believe the anointing oil itself is going to heal me or cleanse me. These two are different languages, but they say the same thing. Creator, prepare our hearts to listen and to love. I'll also pass around my anointing oil. My father, Louis Tonto Abraham, was a survivor of the Tecumseh Catholic boarding school in South Dakota. Like so many Native children, he was taken from his home, his language, and his family, all in the name of education and salvation. He doesn't talk much about it anymore, but he was a storyteller. And one of the stories changed how I saw him. It's called The Pact. And I'd like to share it with you now in his own words. The Pact by Louis Abraham. Most Sisseton Wapton Sioux children of my generation spent their school days in one of the reservation's boarding schools. There were two of them. The Wapton Boarding School in Wapton and the Tecumseh Mission about a mile outside of Sisseton, South Dakota, where I was born. Most of us were the poorest of the poor, and though we got good meals, warm beds, and clean clothes, it never made up for Mama, Papa, and our way of life. But that's a different story. This story deals with the opening of my eyes to the outside world. White people would often come and take one of us home with them. Even though that may seem like a nice thing, many of us were afraid. The threat of not seeing our loved ones ever again was terrifying. Whenever people would come, a hush would fall over the school, and only after the people had chosen their victim and carried them off to who knows where did we dare breathe. thanking the Great Spirit that it wasn't one of us or one of our brothers or sisters. And just in case it did happen, my siblings and I made a pact. We swore to be rotten, spoiled, and whatever it took so that we would be brought back. I was lucky until my 5th grade year. My cousin Junior Thompson and I were playing fighting animals. That's a game where we picked an animal and play fight. Sister Mary Davis, she was a young, pretty nun. Most of them had mustaches and a good right arm. I can still hear her to this day. Louis, come, some very nice people are taking you home. She said, smiling at me like I was the luckiest little boy in the whole world. My heart broke in two as dread filled my little mind and thoughts of never seeing my brothers and sisters again raced through my head. With great despair, I got up and followed her to my dorm, not really hearing what she was saying about how nice and how lucky and etc. and etc. After getting scrubbed, harder than I had ever been scrubbed in my whole life, we packed my few belongings and then I was introduced to my new so-called parents. A big, tall, skinny white man and his wife, a small, skinny white lady. They were from White Bear Lake. Their names were Dr. George Kearns and Mrs. Ann Kearns. They called me son, and I could see how they could have made that mistake because I was pale as a sheet. Never in my young life was I to realize the wonders I was to see or just how poor my people actually were. The trip to White Bear Lake was heartbreaking. It seemed to be a million miles away. Upon entering the city, I forgot my loneliness. Having never seen a city with thousands and thousands of people, cars, and big buildings, all the people with their cars seemed to be stampeding for no reason at all. It was exciting as well as intimidating. After what seemed like hours, we pulled away from the city and into a town that I thought looked like a place where Dick, Jane, and their dog Spot might have lived. At last, we stopped at the biggest house I had ever seen. It was made of brick and glass and it was halfway buried in the ground. Off to one side of the house was a big blue lake. After meeting my new brother, Tommy, who was tall, blue-eyed, blonde, and dorky looking, I was given a tour of the place. The first thing I noticed was the fireplace and a TV in the family room. This, along with the recreation room and 2 bedrooms, was the lower level. The kitchen, dining room, and the master bedroom were all on the upper floor, overlooking the lower. It was such a beautiful house that I almost forgot my home and my family. Almost. That night, after spending forever listening to my new brother talk about his bike, his radio, and all the things he had wanted and he could never get, he told me for his birthday, he had wished for a new brother to play with. So they got me. Then he proceeded to ask me some very dumb questions like, do you use forks? Do you know what a TV is? And after spending a great deal of time convincing my new brother I wasn't a savage, we had to turn the lights off. Thank God. Just before drifting off to sleep, I prayed to the Great Spirit with tears in my heart and eyes that I would see my brother and sister soon. The next morning at breakfast, I wore a smile because I ate my French toast and bacon, and I remembered the pact. And I started my plans. This afternoon, Miss Carnes took Tommy and me to a department store to buy some new clothes. I can't remember the name, but it was awesome. Upon entering this enormous building, I was almost overcome with fear. It was only my pride that kept me from cowering like a chicken. The place had everything that was and ever will be on my reservation. After my shock wore off, I found myself enjoying the place. That evening, I was sent to bed right after supper. Laying there, I could hear Miss Carnes talk about the humiliation she endured after I was caught stealing a small airplane, a car, and a toy gun. After Miss Carnes calmed down, after Dr. Carnes calmed down his wife, he surmised all I needed was love and understanding. They gave me a long talk about stealing and how it wasn't right now that I wasn't on the reservation. The next day, before going to the movies, I broke Tommy's radio and stole Mrs. Carnes' cigarettes. We were given $2 each, which was more money than I had ever had in my whole life. We got dropped off at the movie house. This place blew me away. It was as big as downtown Siston and had 4 movies showing at one time. Even though this was a wonder to me, it could not replace home and only reminded me of how far I was really away from my family. After the movie, while waiting for Miss Carnes to pick us up, I lit the first cigarette I had ever had in my life. And I offered one to my horrified brother. That night, Dr. Carnes told me I was going back to the orphanage. And as I drifted off to sleep, I made up my mind that I would tell the rest of the kids about the pet. Taken prisoner, Louis Abraham. The name Carnes is a false name. Wiper Lake was not the city I was in, but it was a white couple in a St. Paul suburb. So the story still breaks my heart. It also makes me proud. Because even in the pain, you can still feel his strength, his humor, and his survival. That's what our people really carry. It's not really bitterness. It's just resilience. And I didn't always understand what my dad carried. I was raised by a white mother who's second generation Norwegian. She's full of faith. And I was also raised by an African American stepfather who taught me strength and also resilience. For most of my life, I thought that who I was mixed black and white. And when I was 14, I learned my biological father was Dakota. And then suddenly, everything shifted. I didn't know where I belonged, or even my faith journey suddenly felt complicated. I loved Jesus, but I struggled with how Christianity has used to hurt my people. Over time, I learned something beautiful, that it's neither or either. It's both and. I can smudge and pray. I can anoint and believe. I can walk with my ancestors and still follow the teachings of Christ. Both paths leads to the same creator. And both teach humility, healing, and love. So that is what we are trying to do at Department of Indian Work. I gotta get the clicker thing. The Department of Indian Work started in the 1950s through Christian women who saw Native families in need after the Federal Removal and Relocation Act. At first, it was about charity, giving food and clothing, but over time, it became something much deeper. Today, we serve hundreds of families each month through our food shelf, youth programs, diabetes education, financial coaching, and cultural teachings. Last year, we served 1,847 households. That was 367,355 pounds of food. It's a lot of food. We do encompass 52 tribes across the United States and Canada. We do not turn anybody away. We welcome every single person that comes in our doors. We don't just meet material needs, we walk beside our families through healing, restoration, and hope. Some of our traditional meals that we serve at our family education diabetes series. And we do have youth enrichment. We serve 90 to 120 American Indian youth enrichment through after school and summer school programming. Some pictures of our beautiful babies. And our brand new program is the Economic Mobility Hub, where we use the ISDN model to take families that are systematically dependent on systems like childcare assistance and medical assistance and food stamps, and we create confidence in them and move them to a place of creating goals and generational wealth and building stable careers. And so many of you may not be aware that there's this thing called the benefits cliff. So when families are receiving benefits and they're working, many of our families are working and they have a decent paying job, but it's not enough to cut them off of their Section 8 benefits or their medical assistance benefits or even their childcare. But they've gained the confidence and now they want to get a job, an increase in pay. They want to take the new opportunity that's come about. Taking that opportunity that may be only $2 an increase is going to cut them off of thousands of dollars in benefits and leaving them without daycare, without medical, moving from being dependent on these systems and then having to navigate benefits like medical and deductions and all of those things is terrifying. So with the Economic Mobility Hub, we provide supports to help our families move through those bridges. And so this is what healing looks like to me. Sometimes I think about the little boy in my father's story, just 10 years old, afraid he was never going to see his family again. And I think about how he probably imagined never in one day that his daughter would be standing in a church telling his story as part of our shared healing. That is what grace looks like. Healing doesn't erase what happened, but it can transform what it means. So before I close, I want to share a poem that I wrote. It's a reflection on identity, belonging, and God's mysterious plan for all of us. If we took all the time back and the land was still ours, the buffalo would be plentiful. The fish would still spawn and the ground would still grow, our languages intact, cultures as well. The earth would be happy and the pain of the colonizers would be, well, it wouldn't be. But also, so would not be me. The plan we could never understand. The one where we all had to be. Who am I to you? A little native girl or one of the other ones? Because I am neither. For in your eyes, God, I am light, not draped in the color of any flesh. Who am I to you? That my ancestors bear the last name of Abraham, the father of many nations. Am I your child, O God? Who am I to you? So thank you, Padamia, for letting me share my story, my father's story, and for listening with open hearts. This is a healing together. Not a rewriting of history, but a writing of the next chapter with compassion, truth, and love. Any questions?
I just love this home.
Thank you.
Want to say that your being here and speaking has triggered all kinds of memories for me. Because Gene and I, you know where Summit, South Dakota is? It's south of Sisseton, about 17 miles. We lived there for 5 years. And I used to call on people at then it was the Tecowitha Care Center. I don't know if that's even still there. Still there.
So they just demolished the orphanage maybe 5 or 6 years ago, or at the maybe 10 at the most. So it was still standing. The orphanage was still standing in full condition, and they just demolished it. And now it's a playground for the children.
Did your dad ever, was he ever reunited with the rest of the family?
Yes, he was brought back to the orphanage. He was naughty enough that they sent him back home. And so he's actually got a really great relationship with his siblings to this day. So.
Are your grandparents still living? Did his parents?
His parents are not alive, so my grandmother died very young when she was 52. I never had a chance to meet her. And then my grandfather just died. He was a diabetic, and he died from failure to thrive is what they call it when you have a kidney failure and your dialysis stops working.
Your first slide had the name of your organization. I can't remember what it was, but are you totally independent or are you affiliated with some other social group agencies or?
So we're a program of Interfaith Action of St. Paul.
Used to be the St. Paul Area Council of Churches, they might know it.
Yeah, so we used to be the St. Paul Area Council of Churches, so that might be something that you remember.
So you work with federal programs because you spoke in the federal sense. I mean, are you working with?
So a lot of our donation or a lot of our funding does come from federal funding, but we do have donations that come in through the state and the county as well, and foundations and individual and congregations.
Those numbers that you were serving then and the pounds of food are here within the state you're talking, right?
That is, we serve right in Little Canada, and our demographics is typically Ramsey County, but we do serve relatives from all over. Again, we don't turn anybody away, and so we have families that come from the reservation. I'll go back to the very beginning. You can see so we do have families that come from the South Dakota, even Ho-Chunk from Wisconsin. And when they're coming to visit their family, they'll stop and get a visit because they know we carry walleye and bison and wild rice and things like that, so.
Do you get any help from the Wakaton?
We have to apply for grants just like anyone else in the community would. Because we are a program of Interfaith Action of St. Paul, we are not a native-led organization. And that does prevent us from receiving certain fundings from tribal nations.
I worked for the Red Lake tribe for a number of years. And one year I got a call from I was a financial executive for them, and I got a call from the controller at the Mid-Wakaton band. And he said, Red Lake hasn't applied for their $1 million grant this year. Are they really that well off? And I talked to the the secretary treasurer of the tribe, and we got the grant application in pronto. And I would think they would fund you guys if you applied to them.
So they do fund us for certain things, and so they do have criteria that similar to any funding foundation. They're a corporation, they're a foundation similar to anything else, and just because we don't necessarily so there's only a few tribes that are extremely rich in the United States. And Shakopee is fairly wealthy, but they also have, it's a foundational type giving. And so you do have to apply in like an RFP type form. So you have to do request for funding and let them know exactly what you're requesting it for. And sometimes it is a competitive field out there. And so even though we are a native-led organization, they are open to everyone. And so it just kind of depends.
I'm interested in how you might relate to higher educational programs. I got a granddaughter at UMD, and right now she's reading a book that's influenced heavily by the boarding school experience. And I used to work for a college in Wisconsin that had American Indian programs, and we had off-campus programs all over. And Wisconsin does a lot, or did a lot, to support Native American education programs. Do you integrate that into your services to help people plan a pathway into the education system?
As part of our economic mobility hub, what we do is, well, it's in the family's driver's seat. And so if that is one of their pathways and they do want to go through further education, then we do help them with those pathways. A lot of our families are already on a pathway of work. And so they're just looking to get additional incentives to grow in their job.
Do any of those programs ever reach out to you and offer internships or anything like that?
We are definitely looking, so if you guys have any connections, we do have a connection with Health Partners right now, so we're really exploring connecting work pathways and education pathway through Health Partners. And if you think about Health Partners, it is considered a medical facility, but in the way of work, it is a little city. Anything that Health Partners has, IT, restaurant work, janitorial work. So there's anything that a little city has, electricians, plumbing. So our families or any families can get into this type of setting. Very minimal entry work. And so we do have a partnership with Health Partners. We're looking to explore something like that. And so if anyone has any other connections, we would definitely be looking for some soft landing partners. They would just have to, be willing to work with us and understand that our families are coming from some struggles. Yeah.
Where do you get the food that you distribute? Is
So most of our, I would say, to be honest, when we were back at 1671 Summit Avenue, 70% of our food was from donations from our neighboring churches and the communities around us on Summit. But now that we've moved away from that and we're on Little Canada, it is flip-flopped. And so 80% is purchased food. So we are having to raise money and purchase food from Second Harvest Heartland and the food group. We also purchase from tribal nations and things like that to still keep the culturally groundedness of it. And so about 30%, maybe 20% is donations.
In preserving the culture and the wisdom of the culture, I could see like a flip-flop of the boarding schools being good where the American mainstream culture should have to learn the traditional ways for a while.
That would be amazing. I think a lot in a lot of the ways of the land per se, it's just natural for us to know what to do or how to tend the land. And so just learn, I think it would be important for everyone to learn some of those same natural ways, some of the fruits that you can eat and what you can't, so that when you're stranded, maybe you know what's poison and what's snack. And so there's I think it's really helpful information to be grounded to the earth in general. This is what God gave us, and so using all the different ways.
In your education, it's mainly with children, what ages, elementary and high school, all the way through?
So for our American Indian Youth Enrichment Programming, it's kindergarten through 4th grade. And we are located at the American Indian Magnet School on the east side of St. Paul. And it's after school and summer school programming. And so we do focus on the cultural aspect. And then we also try to tie in some math and reading too, because we want our kids to the standards too. Any other questions?
So what you said in the beginning really caught my attention about the being grounded.
Yeah.
And the culture I'm from, we kind of go the other way of like being this brain separated from the ground. And like the elephant, it seems to me like the elephant in the room is kind of all these chairs. It's we can't even exist without being kind of propped up off the ground. So that really caught my attention when you talked about how your tradition is still in connection with the ground.
Yeah, it's really important, the water and the earth and the ground and just, I mean, if you just go outside and you stand barefoot for 10 minutes, it literally, there's proof that your mental health increases just from that moment. And so there is a connection between the ground that God created, the earth that we came from, the dust that we came from, connecting to the body that we are now.
And that's with bare feet, right?
That is with bare feet,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and gardening work, so if you're like in the garden, you're digging in your garden, all that, just putting your hands in the dirt. It's all proven to be wonderful for your mental health. And then I feel like you're just transitioning into my next small activity before we leave. So I know that we're kind of in like this setting, but before we get going, can we get into like a little circle?
Yep. Do you need us in chairs or stand?
We can stand.
Okay.
Yep.
Even.
All right.
A big circle.
Kidney bean, but it works around.
So I do want everyone to grab each other's hands. And I'm gonna put this down in a second, and then I'll be able to grab a hand. Okay. This is called an energy stick. And even though we are not the same color, we're not the same culture, we're not from the same places. It does not shock you. It's just,
Just a surprise.
it is a surprise.
Okay, and then do I pass
Just
it?
hold it.
Okay.
That we're all connected. So if I let go,
Oh, wow.
and then he grabs it, we're still connected. And so and then if I'm just holding it by myself, I can't do anything. This energy is just to stand it. It's still. Of course, I have my own energy. If I don't connect to nothing and I'm just standing here by myself. There we go.
Well,
Then we're all.
Yeah,
connected.
right.
that is amazing.
That's amazing.
It is.
So I mean, it's literally, to me, when I found this energy stick, it just really like brought my whole message of healing and restoration home for me, because no matter what we look like, we're all here to help the next generation. And so it's part of our teachings, the 7 generations, is you take a look back at the 3 generations before you. So 7 generations, 3, you're the one in the middle. And then 3 generations after you, you take a look back and what did they do? What did they do that you don't want to carry on? What did they do that you want to bring forth? And you take that and hold it and then bring it for your next generations. And make sure that they carry those on.
3 generations back, our communities were a lot more communities, rather than individual people.
Yeah.
Fighting for themselves. That is so much like what we've been hearing. There isn't such a thing as an individual Christian, and there's not
Right.
such thing as an individual indigenous person either.
They're all together. And so-
Very cool. Where did they get that? Well, like that. Access all.
That was connects us on shop.
Yeah.
That's it, thank you.
Thanks, I know. Thanksgiving. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
This congregation, you don't have to hear that, because you're a neighbor.
Now we're connected.
Make the fun sound.
Right, right.
So, yes.
I was born in 77. My dad was first time you there. Yeah.
Right?
I know.
Some